You are about to hear of a phrase so potent, so aligned with the laws of spirit, that it stirred such swift and undeniable results that those who did not understand its origin grew afraid of it. It was not God who withheld it from the lips of men. It was fear, superstition, and the trembling of minds unready for the power of their own spoken word. There are forces in this world that would rather see you walk for years through the wilderness of lack than take one bold step into the promised land of instant supply. And yet, divine law has never changed, nor can it be silenced by human apprehension. I tell you plainly, by divine law, the word spoken in unwavering faith moves instantly in the unseen, and what moves in the unseen must appear in the seen. This is not my opinion, it is the eternal pattern set before the foundation of the world. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, says the Scripture, and there is no caveat, no footnote that says, unless it comes too quickly. Delay is not the nature of God. Delay is the byproduct of fear, doubt, and the misuse of the tongue. The lie you have been told is that wealth must be earned through endless effort, that you must climb slowly, cautiously, perhaps even painfully, to prove yourself worthy of blessing. But I say to you now, when you align with divine law, worthiness is not in question, timing is not in question, supply is not in question. The moment the word of truth leaves your lips clothed in faith, the law begins to work, and nothing, no man, no system, no circumstance, has the authority to forbid it. So I declare over you now, I am the rightful heir to divine abundance. By the power of the spoken word, my good appears in perfect ways, under grace, and nothing can keep it from me. This is the atmosphere in which you must listen, for before I place this key back in your hand, you must understand that the vault was never locked by God. It was locked by the thought that you could not open it. Today, we break that thought, and when the vault swings open, you will see that the treasures have been waiting for you all along. The law of the spoken word is not a quaint poetic idea. It is the operating system of the universe. Every form, every opportunity, every relationship, every stream of provision you have ever touched has first existed as a word in consciousness, clothed in feeling, spoken into the invisible, and then delivered into the visible. Scripture declares, death and life are in the power of the tongue, not as metaphor, but as metaphysical fact. Your tongue is not merely for speech, it is the master key, the activating lever that swings the gates of supply open or shut. And like any key, it works impartially. Whether you speak lack or abundance, fear or faith, loss or increase, the law will take your word as its command and set the machinery of creation into motion to match it. Imagine, if you will, a vast vault in the unseen realm, a treasury of infinite supply, already stocked with everything your life could ever require or desire. The tongue, when used in alignment with divine law, is the master key that turns the lock. But here is the tragedy. Many hold the key in their hands and do not turn it, or worse, they turn it in the wrong direction. They speak words of defeat, words of waiting, words that keep the vault sealed tight, not because it is barred against them, but because the law must honor the design of the command it has been given. The vault responds only to authority, and authority is exercised through the conviction of the spoken word. When Florence Scovel Shinn spoke of the creative power of speech, she was not offering a gentle suggestion. She was handing her listeners the most direct tool for immediate transformation. She understood that words are not sounds dissipating into air. They are containers of intention, charged with faith, and propelled into the substance of the universe. When you decree, you are not hoping for an answer. You are forming the mold into which the formless will pour itself. If the mold is clear, confident, and precise, the result will be swift and exact. This is why certain phrases, perfectly aligned with divine principle, seem to work too quickly for the comfort of those unprepared for sudden change. The human mind, conditioned by delay, sometimes recoils from immediate manifestation. Yet the law is not bound by the slowness of human comfort. It is bound by the clarity of the command. When the word is spoken with no mixture of doubt, the law has nothing to do but obey. That is why the key I am about to return to you in this message is so potent. It turns the lock without hesitation, because it leaves no opening for contradiction. And so, as we walk further into this teaching, remember this. You are never without the key. You may have forgotten it. You may have been taught to fear it. You may have let it rust from disuse. But it has never left your possession. Today, we will polish it. We will test it. And when the moment comes, you will turn it in the lock of your own treasury and watch the doors swing wide. You must understand, beloved, that the speed of manifestation is never an accident. When a word is spoken in complete alignment with divine principle, without doubt, without inner contradiction, without subconscious resistance, the law responds instantly. It is not that the phrase itself is magical in some superstitious sense. It is that the phrase is a perfect carrier of truth, like a lightning rod drawing the full force of power from heaven to earth without obstruction. The reason certain words seem to work too quickly is because they bypass the tangled pathways of human reasoning and speak directly to the heart of divine law. They do not ask permission. They operate on the premise that permission has already been given by the source of all good. But here lies the reason such words are often hidden, feared, or even banned in the minds of those who do not understand. Sudden change terrifies the unprepared. When wealth appears overnight, it does not only bring comfort, it brings responsibility. It rearranges the life it enters, and for those whose minds are still anchored in scarcity or insecurity, that rearrangement can feel like an earthquake. Institutions built upon control and gradualism cannot easily manage a truth that delivers instant freedom. And so the phrase is called dangerous, not because it harms, but because it dismantles the structures that profit from your waiting. You see, the fear is not of the words themselves, but of the authority they awaken in the one who speaks them. For when you speak a phrase that calls wealth into form without delay, you discover that you are not at the mercy of employers, markets, economies, or the slow approvals of men. You realize that you have a direct line to supply, and that realization cannot be reversed. Those who have tasted that freedom cannot be easily bound again by the illusions of lack. This is why Florence often spoke of preparation, not because the law needs time, but because you must be ready to receive what comes when the law moves swiftly. If your mind is not ready to hold the abundance, it will scatter. If your spirit is not ready to steward it, it will slip away. The phrase that works too quickly is not for the casual experimenter. It is for the one who is willing to speak with the full weight of their being, to stand steady when the doors of the vault swing wide, and to act as a faithful steward of what pours forth. In this teaching, I will not only reveal the phrase, I will prepare you for it. I will strengthen your spiritual spine so that when the suddenness comes, you will not tremble or shrink back. For there is nothing to fear in the speed of divine supply. There is only joy in its arrival. But that joy can only be received by the one who has decided in advance, I am ready now. And when we reach the moment of revelation, you will not hear these words with hesitation in your heart. You will hear them as the rightful owner of the key that turns the lock in an instant. If you are to walk in the freedom of immediate manifestation, you must first evict from your consciousness the deep-seated fear of sudden good. It may seem strange to speak of fear in connection with the very abundance you long for. Yet in my years of teaching, I have found that many souls, when confronted with the possibility of having their desire fulfilled instantly, experience a subtle tightening, a hesitation, as though they were being asked to leap into waters they have never swum before. This fear is not always loud. It often hides under the guise of being realistic or needing to be ready. But in truth, it is the residue of an old belief that rapid blessing is dangerous, unstable, or somehow undeserved. To dissolve this fear, you must first expose it. Ask yourself, if my wealth, my opportunity, my perfect right conditions appeared within the next hour, would I feel only joy, or would I feel shock, disbelief, even anxiety? Would you immediately begin to wonder if it could last? Would you fear what others might say, how they might treat you, what responsibilities might suddenly be placed upon you. If any of these questions stir discomfort, you have found the root of your hesitation, and that root must be removed before the soil of your mind can sustain the sudden flowering of your good. The replacement thought is simple, but absolute. Divine timing is perfect, and it is now. You must train your mind to see immediacy not as a disruption, but as the most natural thing in the world. Just as the sun does not apologize for rising in the morning, your good does not need to creep toward you in cautious increments. It can and will arrive in its appointed moment. And that moment is the one in which you are most aligned, most ready, most willing to receive. By affirming that the moment is now, you collapse the illusion of waiting. You take your foot off the brake you did not realize you were pressing. Use this visualization to anchor the truth. See before you the great vault of divine supply, not closed and forbidding, but standing wide open, its golden light spilling across your path. You approach without hesitation, without permission slips, without guards to question your right to enter. You step inside, and as you do, the light envelops you, filling every cell of your being with the knowing that this has always belonged to you. There is no rush, no panic, only the steady rhythm of breath and the quiet joy of arrival. You reach out your hands, and the substance of your good flows into them without resistance, without strain. Practice this often, for the mind must be re-educated to see instant supply as safe, as orderly, as the rightful outcome of your union with divine law. When the phrase is finally placed upon your lips, there will be no tremor in your voice, no shadow of what if, only the pure, unshakable conviction that what is yours is already here, and that the speed of its appearance is nothing more than the speed of truth becoming visible. The law of immediate correspondence is the divine principle that every thought, every word, every mental image you hold in unwavering faith is matched instantly in the unseen realm, and that match begins its journey into visibility the very moment the decree is made. Scripture captures it perfectly. Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. This is not poetic exaggeration. It is the blueprint of creation itself. God, being omnipresent, does not wait for a request to travel across time and space. The answer is already present in the mind of God, and your spoken word simply brings it into form. Think of it as a mirror. When you move, the reflection moves at once. The reflection does not pause to consider whether it should respond. It cannot delay. In the same way, the universe reflects the image and vibration you present to it. When your inner stance is one of wealth already received, the outer must mirror that position. If your stance is of waiting, the outer must mirror waiting. This is why speed is the natural order when alignment is present. The law is not deciding when to act, it is already acting in correspondence with what you are holding as true. I liken it also to lightning striking the exact point where the conditions are ready. The charge moves at once through the path of least resistance. Your mind, when cleared of doubt and aligned with divine principle, becomes that open channel, a conductor for the power of spirit to flow without obstruction. The speed you experience is not the law moving faster than usual. It is you finally removing the resistors you have been unknowingly placing in the circuit. And here is the great truth. Immediate correspondence does not mean reckless or chaotic results. It means precision. The law will not bring you what is harmful. It will not contradict divine order. It brings forth what is yours by right, in ways that bless all involved. The delay so many have accepted as normal is not divine caution. It is human interference. Remove the interference, and the law responds at the only pace it knows: now. So when you hear of phrases that work too quickly, understand that nothing unnatural is happening. You have simply touched the law without the filter of fear, without the dam of disbelief, and like lightning to a waiting conductor, your good flows in with the force and immediacy of answered prayer. The true question is never whether the law will respond. It is whether you are willing to present it with a clear, unwavering command. Preparation is the silent proof of faith. You may declare with your lips that you are ready for your supply, but until your actions echo that readiness, the law will not deliver in full measure, for it must honor not only your words, but the total vibration of your being. To prepare to receive quickly is to act in the certainty that what you have called for is already on its way and may arrive at any moment. It is to clear the space, to set the table, to open the storehouse, so that when your good comes, it finds a place prepared for it. No scrambling, no hesitation, no confusion. When I say space, I speak both literally and spiritually. Literally, it may mean making room in your physical environment, clearing the clutter from the desk where you will manage new contracts, creating an orderly system for the money that will flow in, ensuring that what you already possess is handled with care. Spiritually, it means uncluttering the mental shelves where doubt has been stored, releasing the old narratives about how long things take, and banishing the hidden belief that you might not be able to handle abundance if it arrived all at once. The spoken command for this phase is, I am ready for my supply now. Speak it with the authority of one who has already heard the knock at the door. When you say now, feel the shift in your posture, your breathing, your awareness. Let your eyes scan your life and notice what would need to be rearranged if your wealth, your opportunity, your perfect conditions manifested within the hour. Then, without delay, make those arrangements. This is not busy work. It is the magnetic act of aligning form with the substance you have already claimed in spirit. Think of a farmer who has spoken his decree for a harvest. If he truly believes the crop will grow, he will prepare the barns before the first stalk rises from the ground. If he waits until the field is full, the abundance will overwhelm him and much will be lost. In the same way, your preparation signals to divine law that you are not only willing but equipped to receive without delay. The law reads readiness as a green light, and once the signal is given, it moves swiftly and without apology. So I ask you now, if the phrase I will give you brings your wealth tomorrow morning, will you be ready to receive it in full? If your answer is anything less than yes, then this is your hour to prepare. For when you are ready, the law is ready, and in the realm of spirit there is no such thing as too soon. There is only perfect timing, and that timing is now. Waiting is the stance of the one who believes that their good is somewhere out ahead of them, making its way slowly toward their life. It carries within it the subtle vibration of delay, the unspoken agreement that I do not yet have. And because the law must mirror your inner agreement, the condition of not yet continues indefinitely. To welcome, on the other hand, is to live in the awareness that your good is not on the way. It is here now, present in substance, though perhaps not yet in the final form you imagined. Welcoming replaces the language of someday with the language of today, the posture of reaching with the posture of receiving. This reprogramming is not a matter of forcing optimism. It is the conscious removal of the gap between you and your desire. Each time you say, I'm still waiting, you step back from the table where the feast is already laid. But when you say, it is here now, you pull up your chair and begin to partake. The outer form may take a moment to shift into visibility, but the law recognizes no lag in the invisible realm. The wealth, the opportunity, the open door is already complete. Your task is to stop pacing at the window and to start setting the table for your guest who has already arrived. I want you to see this in your mind. A house with the front door standing open, the lights warm and glowing inside, the table beautifully set, the air filled with the fragrance of what has been prepared. You are not peering down the road, straining to catch sight of what is yours. You are moving about the room, welcoming it into the place you have readied, knowing it will cross the threshold because you have created the space where it belongs. This is the energy that draws manifestation quickly, the energy of readiness, hospitality, and certainty. When I speak of welcoming, I am not asking you to pretend. I am instructing you to align with the truth that in divine mind, your supply is complete. Speak it daily. It is here now. I welcome my wealth, my opportunities, my perfect conditions into my life today. And as you speak, allow your body to agree. Relax your shoulders, Lift your head, soften your breath. These are the postures of someone who knows they are in possession, not pursuit. The lightning metaphor we explored before applies here. When you are welcoming, you are the open channel, the path of least resistance. Lightning does not delay its strike once it finds its channel. It moves instantly. So it is with divine supply. When your consciousness is open and unresisting, your good moves without pause, because in truth, it was never moving toward you at all. It was waiting for you to open the door. Now we come to the proving ground, the moment where theory becomes demonstration and where your consciousness is tested in the crucible of time. I give you this challenge not as a novelty or a mere exercise, but as a direct application of the very law we have been unfolding. For one full day, 24 uninterrupted hours, you are to live as if the wealth, the opportunity, the open door you have called forth must arrive within that same span. This is not pretend, for in the realm of spirit, what is decreed in faith exists at once. It is only in the material unfolding that we seem to measure time. But this concentrated period of faith-filled action will train your mind and body to inhabit the vibration of certainty without drift, without lapses into waiting or doubting. Here is how you begin. The moment you wake, speak aloud, "My supply is here now. I receive it within 24 hours by divine law." Let these words be the banner over your consciousness for the day. As you go about your hours, every decision, every thought, every movement must align with the stance of one who is already preparing to receive within this appointed time. If a bill comes, you regard it not as a threat, but as an opportunity already met. If a possibility appears, you step into it without hesitation, knowing the provision is already accounted for. You act quickly on divine ideas. You answer doors that knock. You send the message. You make the call. You put yourself in the places where the channel for your supply can open wide. You will be tempted, oh yes, to let the mind wander into "what if it doesn't happen?" or "this is too much to expect." That is the old agreement with delay trying to reclaim its ground. In those moments, speak the command again with fresh conviction. My supply is here now. I receive it within 24 hours by divine law. Say it until the very thought of delay feels foreign, until the idea of not receiving within the time frame seems absurd. The power of this test is not merely in what may arrive, though you will be surprised at how the law delights in showing its speed. It is in what you will discover about your own alignment. 24 hours of sustained certainty will reveal where your consciousness has been leaking power and where it has been holding firm. And when, within or even before that span, a channel of supply opens, you will know with unshakable clarity that the law is not bound by the long, weary timelines of human reasoning. It responds to your readiness, your command, your unwavering welcome. So take this challenge seriously. Mark your start time. Speak your decree. Live these hours as if the treasury of heaven has already been instructed to empty its riches into your life, and know that by divine right, it must obey. The law of unhindered access is the divine assurance that there is no true barrier between you and the infinite supply prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Scripture affirms it plainly. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. There is no hint of reluctance in that promise, no suggestion that you must scale impossible walls or earn your way through endless tests before the storehouse of heaven can open to you. The barriers you have felt, the locked doors you have imagined, have never been placed there by God. They are constructs of human thought, illusions upheld by agreement with lack, by fear of your own authority, and by the mistaken belief that divine abundance is rationed. Picture a treasure chest brimming with gold, jewels, and priceless artifacts, not symbolic, but real in its value and richness. Now imagine that you have spent years walking past it, convinced that it was sealed with an unbreakable lock. Perhaps others have even told you, "It's not for you," or "You're not ready," or "Only a select few may open it." But one day, you reach out in faith, press your hand to the latch, and find that it swings open easily. there was never a lock at all. This is the reality of your relationship to supply. The kingdom is not in hiding, it is not in exile, and it is not guarded against you. It is offered freely, joyfully, and immediately to the one who dares to believe the gift is theirs by divine right. Yet here is the paradox. Many will not even touch the latch. They circle the chest, studying it, waiting for someone to hand them a key that does not exist, or they spend their lives earning imaginary tokens to prove themselves worthy. In truth, the law requires only that you approach in faith and act as one who belongs there. Your words, your thoughts, your posture, these are the credentials the law responds to, and when they are in harmony with the truth of your divine inheritance, no imagined guard or obstacle can stand in your way. Unhindered access does not mean chaotic access. It is governed by order, but it is order rooted in love, not restriction. The abundance you claim in alignment with divine law comes in ways that bless and never burden, that uplift and never diminish. If you have believed that your good is somewhere out there, waiting for permission to reach you, this law demands that you reverse the image entirely. Your good is here, within reach, within your atmosphere, and the only door between you and it is the one in your own consciousness. When you grasp this truth, the notion of a banned phrase becomes clear. It is not the phrase that is truly forbidden, but the awareness it awakens. For once you know that access has never been denied, you can no longer be manipulated by delay, fear, or scarcity. You walk straight to the treasure chest, you lift the lid, and you take what is yours. Not in arrogance, but in reverent gratitude, knowing it was placed there for you before you even knew to ask. Sacred words are not ordinary speech dressed in ceremonial clothing. They are vessels of concentrated truth, each syllable carrying within it the vibration of divine principle. When you speak such words, you are not reciting for comfort or poetic beauty. You are issuing a command to the unseen substance of the universe, impressing upon it the exact pattern you desire to see take form. This is why certain phrases seem to move mountains in an instant. They are composed entirely of truth, with no wasted sound, no idle sentiment, and no allowance for contradiction. They are pure channels through which the law can flow unimpeded. In the realm of spirit, words are not judged by their length or elegance, but by their alignment. Alignment means that the word you speak matches the law that governs creation. When the law hears its own truth echoed back through your voice, it responds without delay, for you have essentially spoken its language. This is why Florence Scovel's Shinn was so precise with her affirmations. Each one was crafted to mirror divine law exactly, leaving no room for misinterpretation, no space for the mind to water down the command with personal doubt or vague desire. But here lies a caution. Sacred words must be spoken with reverence and certainty. If you mouth them mechanically, without conviction, or if you lace them with fear or disbelief, you have emptied them of their potency. The words themselves remain perfect, but the vessel delivering them, your consciousness, must be aligned in order for them to perform their work. Think of it as striking a key on a piano. If the string is perfectly tuned, the note rings clear and strong. If it is slack or warped, the same key will produce only a dull, lifeless sound. The phrase is the key, but your faith is the tuning. This is also why the misuse of sacred words, whether through careless repetition or the attempt to manipulate outcomes for selfish ends, can appear to neutralize their effect. The law does not serve manipulation or harm. It serves divine order. When your intention harmonizes with the greater good, when you seek your wealth under grace and in perfect ways, the words become unstoppable. But when they are spoken in the spirit of greed, fear, or control, they fall flat, for they are no longer carrying the vibration of truth. They are carrying the weight of human will, which is too heavy for them to soar. Therefore, when I speak to you of a phrase that has been called too powerful, I am not speaking of superstition. I am speaking of a precise instrument capable of drawing immediate manifestation because it is entirely in tune with divine principle. Your task is to hold that instrument with clean hands and a clear heart, so that when you speak it, you do so not as a beggar hoping to be heard, but as a child of God declaring the will of the Father, knowing it must be done. Before you can speak a phrase that calls wealth into form without delay, you must first accept and embody your authority over it. Too many live as if wealth were a distant sovereign, ruling from some inaccessible throne, granting favor to a select few while ignoring the petitions of the rest. This picture is a distortion. In truth, wealth is not a ruler over you. It is a servant of divine law, and when you are aligned with that law, it becomes your obedient servant as well. This is not arrogance, it is the rightful order of creation. Scripture does not say, "You shall beg and perhaps be given," but rather, "Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." A decree is the language of authority. Authority in this sense is not loud or forceful. It is calm, settled, and absolute. It is the quiet confidence of one who knows that when they call their servant, the servant comes. When they send them, the servant goes. Wealth, in its essence, is simply the visible expression of supply. It has no will of its own. It moves according to the word of divine command. When you speak from the position of truth, you are not convincing wealth to arrive. You are instructing it to take its rightful place in your life. This requires a reprogramming of identity. You must stop seeing yourself as someone trying to get and start seeing yourself as someone who already governs. Imagine a steward of a great estate. They do not wring their hands wondering if the harvest will be brought in. They give the order and know it will be done. They do not fret over whether the storerooms will be filled. They inspect them, make the necessary preparations, and trust the process that has never failed. You are that steward, and the estate is your divine inheritance. To anchor this truth, speak often. Wealth obeys divine law, and I speak that law now. Say it until you feel the shift in your inner stance, until you can sense the weight of authority in your words. See wealth not as a reluctant stranger, but as a faithful messenger who knows your voice and delights to fulfill your command. Each time you speak, do so with the understanding that the law has already begun its work, that the arrangement has already been made in the unseen, and that the arrival of your good is a matter of unfolding, not uncertainty. When you have reprogrammed your mind in this way, you will find that the sacred phrase, when spoken, will not feel like a desperate incantation, but like the natural language of someone who is already in possession. And it is from that posture of possession, not pursuit, that wealth moves swiftly, directly, and without obstruction into your hands. Now I give you an exercise that will test and strengthen your spiritual authority in a way few are willing to attempt. But those who do will never again doubt the responsiveness of divine law. For one full, uninterrupted hour, you are to speak nothing but authority-based wealth decrees. You will not ask. You will not plead. You will not wonder if it is working. You will speak as one whose word is law, whose command is final, whose decrees are already being carried out the moment they leave your lips. This is not an hour for casual chatter or distracted thought. It is an hour for holding the scepter of your divine inheritance and ruling from the place of already having. You may choose one decree or several, but they must be specific, present tense, and rooted in divine principle. Examples include, "By divine right, my wealth is here now and appears in perfect ways under grace." Or, "I command my perfect channels of supply to open now and remain overflowing." Or, "All that belongs to me by divine right rushes to me now in perfect order." You will speak each phrase slowly, deliberately, with full awareness of its meaning. Then repeat it again and again until it begins to feel not like something you are affirming, but like something you are describing. A fact so established that your only task is to name it aloud. As you speak, you may notice a subtle shift. At first, the mind may resist, offering thoughts of, "This feels strange," or "How will this happen?" Ignore them completely. They are nothing but echoes of the old programming. Continue speaking. Somewhere within the first 20 minutes, you will feel the balance shift. The words will begin to carry you instead of you carrying the words. They will seem to take on a life of their own, and you will sense that they are not merely filling the air, but impressing themselves upon the very fabric of reality. By the end of the hour, you will know something deep in your bones. You are not waiting for wealth to arrive. You are actively summoning it into form. You will feel lighter, more certain, and more at peace, not because you have talked yourself into optimism, but because you have experienced the tangible authority of your own word under divine law. And when the sacred phrase is placed into your hands later in this message, you will be ready to speak it from this same posture, without hesitation, without doubt, and without the unconscious agreement with delay that has, until now, kept the vault door from swinging wide. We have walked together through the laws, dismantled the illusions, and trained your mind to hold its place in authority without wavering. You are no longer approaching this moment as a curious spectator or as one clutching at hope. You are standing as the rightful heir to divine abundance, prepared to receive the key that was never truly lost but was hidden from your conscious use. And now, without hesitation, I place it back into your hands. The sacred phrase is this: by divine right, my wealth appears now, in perfect ways, under grace. Do not rush past these words. Let us examine them, for every syllable is deliberate, and every part of this declaration is a channel for the law to flow without obstruction. By divine right, this anchors your claim not in human permission, not in the fragile conditions of economy, employer, or market, but in the eternal law of your Creator. Divine right is immutable, untouchable, beyond dispute. It bypasses every human limitation and places your request in the realm where it is already complete. My wealth. This is not a vague call to some general good. It is a direct claim to that which belongs to you in the mind of God. My here is not selfish ownership, it is identification. You are claiming what is already aligned with your purpose, what was prepared for you before you had the need. You are calling forth your portion, your supply, your inheritance. Appears now. Here is the element that caused lesser minds to fear this phrase. You are not asking for gradual unfolding or distant manifestation. You are collapsing the illusion of delay and affirming that the visibility of your wealth is immediate. The law already holds it in substance. This command draws it into sight. Now is the removal of all imaginary waiting. In perfect ways. This phrase guards against the mind's fear of sudden abundance being disruptive or harmful. It instructs the law to deliver your wealth in ways that are harmonious, orderly, and aligned with the highest good of all concerned. There is no chaos here, no harm, only divine precision. Under grace. Grace is the law's gentlest and most protective channel. It ensures that the wealth you receive comes without struggle, without debt, without entanglement. It is the blessing that adds no sorrow, the abundance that cannot be taken from you. To claim something under grace is to place it within the most loving and secure delivery system in the universe. Now you see why this phrase is feared by those who thrive on your delay, because it works quickly, cleanly, and beyond their control. It aligns you with immediate manifestation while ensuring that the result is pure, lawful, and enduring. When you speak it, do so with the authority we have cultivated together. Stand, breathe deeply, and let each word be a command written in light across the fabric of your reality. And know this, once spoken in faith, this phrase cannot be unheard in the mind of God. It begins to move at once, and you will meet its result in ways so perfect you will know, without question, that it was your decree that opened the vault. Faith is the atmosphere in which every divine decree breathes and takes on form, and fearlessness is its natural twin. Without faith, the words you speak are like seeds cast upon stone. They cannot take root, for the soil is not prepared to nourish them. But when your heart is filled with unwavering trust in the law, and your mind is free from the tremors of doubt, the seed of your declaration finds deep, rich soil and begins to bear fruit at once. The sacred phrase I have given you is the purest seed you can plant. but it must be sown in the ground of a fearless heart. Scripture declares, "What things soever ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them." Notice the sequence. It does not say, "Believe after you have them," but "believe that ye receive" in the very moment of prayer. This is present tense possession, not future hope. The fear that often creeps into the human heart after speaking such a declaration is the fear of its own power. What if it really happens? Will I be ready? Will I be able to handle the responsibility, the visibility, the change it brings? These questions are the whispers of the old self, the self accustomed to waiting and to seeing its desires drip into life in careful, measured doses. Fearlessness is not recklessness. It is the calm assurance that what is coming is rightfully yours and can only bless you. It is the inner stance that says, "I cannot be harmed by my good, for my good is of God." When you stand in that place, there is no trembling in your voice when you say, "By divine right, my wealth appears now in perfect ways under grace." There is no anxious glance over your shoulder, no half-hearted tone. There is only the quiet authority of one who knows that their Father's pleasure is to give them the kingdom, and that the kingdom contains no curses disguised as blessings. I tell you, fear is the great thief of immediacy. It does not erase the law's answer, but it can cloud your eyes so you cannot see it, or tangle your hands so you cannot hold it when it comes. Faith untangles, clears, opens, and lifts. It turns your gaze from the imagined dangers to the certain provision. It allows you to walk toward your answered prayer with steady steps, unhurried but unstoppable. So, before you speak the phrase each day, examine your heart. Root out the small hidden fears that would have you hesitate at the moment of arrival. Replace them with this knowing: if it is mine by divine right, it is safe. If it is mine under grace, it is perfect. If it is mine in perfect ways, it will fit my life as naturally as breath fills my lungs. Faith is not something you strain to produce. It is the natural state of the soul when fear has been cast out. And when you stand in that state, the law has no option but to obey your word without delay. The sacred phrase is not meant to be spoken once and then left to drift into memory like a fleeting inspiration. It is a living decree, and its power is renewed each time you speak it with conscious authority and expectancy. This is why its daily use is essential, not from a place of repetition born of doubt, as though the law must be convinced, but from a place of deepening resonance, allowing its truth to saturate your entire being until your outer life cannot help but conform to it. Each day, choose a time when your mind is quiet and undistracted. Stand or sit in a posture of openness, spine tall, chest lifted, breath steady. Close your eyes and feel the stillness that comes from knowing that all that is yours by divine right already exists for you. Then speak the phrase slowly. By divine right, my wealth appears now in perfect ways under grace. Pause after each segment, allowing the words to sink into the deeper layers of your consciousness. Do not rush. Let your tone carry the weight of certainty, as though you are naming a fact, not wishing for an outcome. Once spoken aloud, hold the feeling of its fulfillment for a few moments in silence. See yourself walking through your life as one whose wealth has already appeared. Notice the details, the peace in your heart, the ease in your mind, the opportunities flowing toward you, the abundance visible in every corner of your world. This visualization is not a separate exercise. It is the natural extension of the phrase, the inner picture that matches the outer decree. You may speak the phrase several times throughout the day, but never from a sense of lack. If you feel yourself slipping into, "I must say it again so it will happen," stop. That energy muddies the channel. Instead, let each repetition be an affirmation of what is already true, like looking again at a beautiful view you already know is there. You can say it while walking, while preparing your meals, while handling your finances, even while drifting into sleep. The key is to keep your heart free from strain and your mind anchored in gratitude, as if the manifestation were simply one of many natural blessings you live with daily. And remember, the phrase is not a magic charm, it is a precise alignment with divine law. Spoken mechanically, it is only sound. Spoken with belief, it becomes light, substance, and form. If a day comes when you cannot speak it with conviction, pause and return to the foundational truths we have covered: your divine right, your authority, your readiness. Then, when your faith feels steady again, speak it and know that the law has heard, the law has moved, and the wealth you have named is even now taking visible form in perfect ways, under grace. Now that you have been prepared in mind, fortified in spirit, and armed with the sacred phrase itself, it is time to place your public seal upon this covenant. A decree spoken in private carries the full force of divine law, but when you make that decree openly, when you let it stand in the light of witness, it takes on an additional charge of authority. This is not because you are seeking approval from others, but because the act of declaring before heaven and earth removes the last trace of hesitation from your own consciousness. You are no longer hiding your faith, you are announcing it as a fact. Here is what you must do. Speak the phrase aloud. By divine right, my wealth appears now, in perfect ways, under grace. And then, as an act of sealing it in the visible realm, type these exact words in the comments below this message. Do not alter them. Do not abbreviate them. The law works with precision, and you will give it the exact mold it requires to manifest your decree in the perfect pattern. Consider this typed declaration not as idle participation, but as your spiritual contract, your signature upon the document of divine promise. When you do this, you are telling your subconscious mind, "This is real. This is done. I have set my hand to the plow and will not turn back." The public nature of the act transforms the phrase from a private wish into a spoken law. Others may read it, and in reading, they may feel the stirring of their own authority. Your words may become the key in someone else's hand. But for you, this is the moment when you declare, without retreat, that your wealth is not only on its way, it is here now, appearing in perfect ways, under grace. I urge you to complete this action without delay. The energy of your readiness is highest in this moment, and the law responds to movement. Do not overthink. Do not wait for the right time. The right time is now because divine timing is always now. Once you have spoken and typed the phrase, remain in expectancy. Look for the channels that open, the doors that swing wide, the sudden alignments that could not have been arranged by human hands alone. And when the manifestation appears, as it surely will, return here and testify, not for the sake of boasting, but as the sealing of the cycle. Decree, receive, and give thanks. This is your activation, your covenant, your demonstration that you will no longer circle the treasure chest in doubt. You have touched the latch, you have opened the lid, and you have claimed what was prepared for you. By divine right, it is yours now, in perfect ways, under grace. Let us now bring every truth we have spoken, every law we have unfolded, every fear we have dissolved into one final rhythmic current of power. These affirmations are not casual repetitions. They are the drumbeat of certainty, the steady march of divine authority echoing through your consciousness until nothing remains but the awareness of already having. As you speak them with me, feel them saturating your mind, your body, your atmosphere. Speak slowly at first, then allow the tempo to build, as if each declaration is a wave, and you are standing in the tide of your own abundance. I have spoken my wealth into form. Say it, not as one who hopes it is true, but as one who knows the law cannot refuse a decree given in faith. The law moves instantly on my behalf. Feel the swiftness in these words, the removal of all imagined distance between you and your good. I receive under grace, in perfect ways. Let the peace of grace wrap around you like a mantle, shielding you from any fear of harm or disorder in your blessings. By divine right, my wealth appears now. This is the cornerstone, the unshakable claim to what has always been yours. Every channel of supply is open to me. Picture those channels, streams, rivers, pathways, all flowing toward you without interruption. Nothing can obstruct what belongs to me. Say it with the finality of a king sealing a decree. Now, let all these merge into one breath, one voice, one truth. I am the fearless, faithful steward of my divine inheritance, and I live in overflowing supply now and forevermore. Hold this sentence in your heart until you feel its reality vibrating in your very bones. This is the state in which the sacred phrase thrives, anchored, unwavering, already fulfilled. Carry these affirmations into your tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. Speak them not to make them true, but because they are true. Let them be the language you live in, the soundscape of your life, until the walls of your old limitations crumble entirely, and you stand in a world that matches the vision you have been holding in spirit. You have spoken. The law has heard. The manifestation is certain. Walk forward now, not as one who is waiting, but as one who is living in the harvest of their own decree.